Good evening, my friends, and welcome once again to this week's edition of the Leo and Larry Show. So happy to have you once again, and as always, we bring you the very best in guests that can always help you to learn the things you need to know, and go to places you need to go. And you already hear her laughing. This week we have none other than Elaine Reed, who is, we all know her very well because she is a radio personality. She has the purpose of the PD, which comes on before us every Sunday. She's also a city council member for Ward 2 in the city of Darlington.
All right
She
now.
does all kind of activist work. She's a teacher, she's a leader, and sometimes she sounds like a preacher.
Oh,
Elaine Reed is our
oh
guest.
wow, my goodness. I'm wondering, I'm trying to figure out who he's talking about here. I mean, that's kind of elaborate there, though. But thank you,
Yes, you're welcome.
Pastor. Let me tell you, it's just always such a pleasure to be with you all the time. It's just so worldly and so involved. And the one thing that is always stands out, and that is always meant so much to me, is the fact that whatever you're involved with, you are actually involved. It becomes a resource. We can always depend on it. It is implemented. It is done. I mean, you can see the you can see the actual work of that has gone in to you being a part of.
But that only happens because we work with amazing partners. We have wonderful collaborations with people like you.
Listen at that.
Some of the audience may not be familiar with you, and they're very few and far in between. But some of our guests, this program is actually picked up nationally.
Wow.
And so
Okay.
some people aren't familiar with you and your work. So
Okay.
why don't you tell
them
them
just a little bit about me?
yourself? Yeah.
And when someone asks you that, you just wonder what folk want to know and what would be, because it's kind of hard to describe yourself. But anyway, I'm a hometown. I'm a country girl. I was from Darlington, South Carolina, and I've traveled around quite a lot. And ended up when I retired, kind of coming back home. But as I said, I was born and raised, educated in Darlington, and kind of spread out a little bit when I got to go to when I went to college, and a first year being at Hampton Institute, and then ended up with coming out at Shaw University right there in Raleigh, North Carolina, and that too was the beginning of my civil rights activity and understanding what that was all about. Because I don't know.
Hampton Institute is where Booker T. Washington was. So you started off a good place. That's where he got his education.
Yeah. And I was just going to, coming, being from Darlington, just from the typical Black family, African American family, where folk were evolving and getting status and things like that. But one of the main things I was saying that I see I compare to nowadays is how we were brought up. We were taught so many things that are missing now. And I see are missing in our family. And I see that when we look at the decline, those of us who have succeeded one way or the other. And it doesn't, and I'm not measuring it according to others. Success could be that you're in good health, you raise your family, and you have some spiritual stability, because you know that that's what's absolutely necessary.
Amen.
Yeah. For you to do anything or to gain any kind of prominence in life. But I said I was just using that as a means to show that it was once I left home because it was seemed like a protected thing. You thought I thought I was that I knew some of everything until I actually got to Hampton and ended up in Raleigh. But at Shaw University was truly the education there because it was right in the smack dab in the middle of all of the movement, the civil rights movements and things. And we were the college kids there. We were significant in that movement, and I was smack dab in it. I just said when I left home, my mom said, "Now don't you join that NAACP? Don't you get involved with that."
That was radical back then. Not today,
radical back then. So I didn't join the NAACP, but I joined the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee. Ralph Round, Stokely Michael, Angela Davis.
They are the ones, Stokely Michael, for those who don't know, he gave that famous speech where he came up with the slogan, Black Power. Black Power.
With your fist in the air.
In the air,
yeah. Okay, and Angela, I had my hair out of there where we used to keep that thing straightened in the rivers and stuff like that.
And the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee is famous, the students doing the sit-ins at the lunch counters.
Yes.
A bunch of voter registration. Yeah, working with the Freedom Riders from up north. I mean, they were an essential part of the civil rights movement. But I have a question for you.
Yeah.
And you open the door when you talk about the difference with generations.
Yes.
What happened? Because young people were the ones who led the way to change back in the 60s and 70s. So we're talking about the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee in the South. The Freedom Riders, well, a lot of them were white students who came down during the summer to help with the civil rights movement. You know, we look at Stokely Carmichael and Rap Brown that you mentioned, who were college students at the time. And let us not forget all of the amazing things that Martin Luther King Jr. accomplished when he was assassinated. He was 36 years old. Malcolm X was 39 years old. They spent decades of their youth leading the way towards freedom. And I just have to ask the question, what do you think? Where are young people now? Because when we go to meetings and we see a lot of things happening, it's the older generation. It's the baby boomers.
I don't know whether it is our fault, but I do know that it is a lot of the parents because it's not being instilled. Our struggles, our fight, we were, as our parents said, not to, and I was given instructions not to join one organization, but see, it was so prevalent there in other environments about what we wanted. We were able to see the disparity. We were able to see how unfair, and we did not have that fear. That's why I said it is so important to have a spiritual base.
Right.
That is what's missing today. That part is not part because all of the things that I was telling you that I was involved with back then, it was in the church.
Wow.
Yeah. It was in the church, even as much as you hear the stories of them moving around, look how difficult it was back then, to say go from campus to campus. But they did it. They did it because they went through the church. It was always a group because they was the only ones that was able to travel like that.
You said two things, and I said, oh, wow, because you said two things, and it helped me to connect some dots. I hope it does with our audience as well. The first thing you said, you talked about is success. And you said success with different things for different people. I think today we measure a lot of success by material things.
And
How
your
big
bank
your
account.
house and your money, and do you have designer clothes? But success could be, I want to be a farmer. I want to have, I want to have a
Yes.
secretarial business. You know, that is, and if we attain that, we were happy. The other thing is the other piece is where you talk about the church.
Oh yeah.
And the church promoted that. The church
Mhm.
now we have a lot of prosperity preaching. Get as much as you can get rich. See, it's so
Oh,
the
the
seed and
blessing,
you'll get a
yeah.
brand new car.
The blessing is always
Yeah.
accounted to
Mhm.
how much monetary.
But
Yeah.
then, people heard then that you can't serve God and mammon. God is mammon was the idol God of materialism and wealth. You can't serve both because you love one and hate the other. Store your treasures up, right?
Yeah.
Where it doesn't rot, where moths can't eat it up. And so I said, I didn't mean to talk this long, but you
Right,
said
that's
those
what-
things, and it was like,
Yeah.
wow, that's part of the problem, because
That's
now
it.
it's like
Yeah.
$300, $200 shoes.
And that's what is that our kids, our younger ones are looking for. If they can get to the point where they can afford those kinds of things, they think God reached it. In the meantime, you are not.
In the meantime, the houses in your community are falling apart.
And they're taking all of the things that people fought for. They're just taking them back, and you're being changed by by the idea that this is what you need. They're outlining what you think you need to exist in this society now, and that's not what we did.
No.
You look at, we came here 200 years ago, just 200 years ago, slaves to treat us like dogs and animals and whatever. And look where we are.
Yeah.
Look where we are, because we did not follow that. We followed what was instilled in us. And now we had a president of the United States of America. And now a vice president being a black African American
head
female.
of the House of Representatives in Congress, Hakeem.
Right, Hakeem. That's right. I could, every time I see my emails from them, I say, "Go!" I'm just so glad I'm still connected. But that's
and
why
you
I be so excited.
But voting makes that happen too, right?
That's why you heard me point that in there. And all of that we got to see the value of what that is, and that's why I'm still as passionate as I am today, because I see. I've got, there's so many things going through my head now that I would like to be able to go out with.
We say like in church, take your time.
There's so many experiences that I've had that proves this, that shows me, I've seen it, been on my journey, simply because I've had that experience, simply because I went to a Black institution, simply because I had connections with these civil rights folk that now are in history. That simply because I had that, I'm seeing now the fight back then is still the fight back, still there. And in the meantime, in my life, I did, in life, I did. I met my husband in the civil rights movement. He was a Panther from California, and that attracted me. A Black Panther, what?
Yeah, that was those men. They just seem strong.
What?
Right?
Yes, indeed. So I just enjoy that, and we had such a journey. He has passed on. We have one son as a result of that, and just coming back home. I mean, coming back. I travel a lot. Like I said, I was in school there, and I believe when I left school, I went to Philadelphia. Came on back. That's where I met my husband, and then we went on out to California there for a time. Oh goodness, and that's an experience as well.
Well,
All I'm
travel,
telling you,
well, travel
travel,
broadens your
it
mind
just, that's the
because
word.
you see different people
It just,
doing the things that you do differently, and sometimes it works better the way they're doing it.
I mean, it's just, I'll give you one little thing, not to get off of where we are. About being in Philadelphia, living in Philadelphia, I think that's just what city of brotherly love,
Mhm.
and then going to California to Los Angeles, the city of angels.
Mhm.
What they call the slums out there was
Private houses.
oh gosh, I can't call the name of it. It wasn't Compton, it was another name. But anyway, but that part compared to what Philadelphia,
Mhm.
um, low income, a slum area,
Mhm.
in the hood or whatever, it was totally different.
Mhm.
One side, East Coast, West Coast,
Mhm.
the differences in there as to how folk live.
Mhm.
But all of it still, the basic thing is the reason that this was being existed this way is because the lack of participation in the government in your area, the things that come from it. Now that's it.
Which I want to bring this up, and I'm going to look. I'm going to keep my eye on the ball for the other side. So we just had the Democratic in South Carolina.
Mm,
My understanding is only 4% of registered voters participated.
mm, mm,
I'm interested in what percentage of people who turn out to vote in the upcoming Republican primary. Because if we're going to have change, we need to have more people registered to vote anyway. Less than 50% of Americans vote in the presidential election and any other election. 4% is a little scary to me.
mhm.
And when the Republican primary comes out, I want to see what percentage of Republicans turn out to vote. That may well be low too, and that's frightening.
It's
That's
just,
frightening
it's
that
just,
people aren't
our,
participating.
oh boy,
Why?
we got, Lord Pastor, we got to begin to look at the people, our candidates, the people that are representing us. For many years, I've been involved with politics and local government campaign. Never really wanted to be an elected official. Always liked to be in the back room making the differences. I've just been, I'm making the candidate. I'm making it, if you know what I'm saying. So
Yeah.
I've got to see that our candidates these days are nowhere near that. That's my being an elected official put a whole new spin on it, whole new look about how we participate in the government here. Because there is more people ruling, making these policies than the person that you voted for. That is what we are going to have to be able to change. That's why and I see that there's a lot of folks that what difference does it make, as they said, even with the Democratic primary? You got Joe Biden and Kamala. They're gonna be there anyway. So what? That's, you see, they're gonna be there. So what? You had two other people that was on that primary that didn't even matter. I don't think people even knew the name. If there's no interest there, and there is nothing with these parties, all of this, you got the Republican, oh, they gonna come out because you got this guy or this person.
They usually
That-
come
that's,
out a high
you know,
percentage
that's,
anyway than the Democrats.
that they got to show that that's what they're interested in, in a person that want to tear down the democracy. And so many of the things, our democracy is threatened, period, with with this election. But getting that message over to those that's going to hurt most, which is the minorities, one way or the other, getting that to them, there is no effort being made. No, I shouldn't say there's no effort, but the kind of effort that's needed to get that onto you so you'll be scared enough and you would turn out to go up there to vote in that primary to show folks that you were here. There is nothing from the top down, Pastor. It is not done. One of the things you pointed out to me said, you know how we won elections before. You know how we did this. We put the money on the ground.
Yeah.
We put the money on the ground. And so that the folk can, so we can to have a means by which to get the folk there who is not listening, that don't is not that's getting all the information like is being poured on other sides. Okay, none of that is being done.
No, and then
you see,
and then also
so that's
platform. People run for office and they don't have a platform. You don't know what it's like. Vote for me because I support Donald Trump. Vote for me because I'm a conservative. Vote for me because I'm black and I went to the high school you went to, and I go to so and so church. But platforms are severely lacking, and I think that's why people often say they don't see where it makes a difference. You know, and I mean clear platforms. It's like elect me to office, and I will make sure that infrastructure is fixed in your community because I know the bipartisan infrastructure act, which is billions of dollars passed by the federal government, is sending money down to South Carolina, and I'm going to make sure whether I'm a county elected person, a city elected person, or a state legislator, I'm going to make sure that some of that money gets to my district. And you don't have specific. In fact, sometimes I watch people run for office talking about things that their position doesn't. We need to have better schools because our kids need to learn.
Well, you
running for the city council,
not the school board.
Not the school board. And I mean, so it's like we need clear from like you said at the top. Because even with the Democrats and the Republicans, if you said what exactly is your platform, it's hard to get anything specific. It's very general.
Right.
You know, close our borders. Well, how does that impact me?
Right now.
Something else that we're going to do on the Democratic side. You know what I mean? But we need to have people running for office with clear platform that we can hold them accountable and say, okay, you didn't do what you said, so I'm going to elect someone else who will do what they said. And I think that's why there's a lot of apathy. Apathy is the word.
Yeah, it is. What scares me so, Pastor, is simply this. It is a clear choice, clear regardless of the Republicans and the Democrats right now. Okay, it's just clear.
And some people choose one, and some people choose
them.
And then some people choose neither.
And that is what the problem is. You need to make a choice. I just know that those of us will make this right choice because I simply don't. Okay. But I just get frustrated because I just don't see how anyone, black or white, why would someone support Donald Trump? It's just beyond comprehension for me. And if nothing else.
But then on the other side, some of them can't understand why you would support Joe Biden.
Yeah, if nothing else, he got a sister as his running mate. Yeah.
And then you have some that say, well, America is already 40% people of color, and we're afraid that we might get some payback.
Oh,
they've done in the past. So other people like, no, we don't want to have a sister as vice president.
But I did hear.
Old man. passes away.
They need to, but right now, Joe Biden, if Joe Biden has helped us so much with these different programs and monies that we don't we're not educated enough. And that's what I said, why you are, such a resource for us, because you're right there and you're able to identify the monies that would come directly in our community, and you have done it and still continuing to do. But and so with Biden under that administration, there is monies like that, and we do need to do that.
I think part of it is messaging too.
Yeah.
Because, and I've been saying this for years, and I have a brother-in-law, we joke about it all of the time. On the Republican side, their messaging is short. You can remember it, and it's something that when you first hear it, you're not gonna push out. You have "Make America Great Again." Who's gonna say I'm against making America great? Leave no child behind. Who's gonna say, "Yeah, I think some children should be left behind"? Family first. Who's gonna say you should put your family first? They're not always. I always say to people like yourself who are elected, give me a short statement that resonates like that from the other side of the aisle.
Right. Okay.
Their messaging is wrong. If you think of it, it's like, what's the messaging that's out there? Bidenomics.
Oh no. No. Oh gosh, they did have
and I'm not
Democratic
presidential election.
right. I'm thinking about
in general.
In general,
what's the slogan? What's the messaging that resonates with people, that have people say, "I'm for that"? That's another thing that's lacking.
Yes.
That's another thing.
Yes.
That's lacking.
Because as I pointed out in another form of sorts, that the reason, one of the main things that had Jimmy Harrison do so well was the media. It was, he matched them toe to toe, and he had a message. Every time they came with some kind of off the wall, he was right there. But he had the monies to do so, to be able to be in them and be in that game. It's still because of South Carolina, I guess, and not getting to where part of that should have still been on the streets. And I don't mean street money. I mean it grassroots. Yeah, there's grassroots, so that they can actually just a good old just go vote that's taking people to the poll. You have setting up like we used to do. Identify the vote and go get them. And you organize that the drivers or the whatever, and you go, not just somebody come up and say, "Well, I'm gonna use my car." You have it organized because they'll be identified, or you can tell them which way to go, and that's a lot of process. Because it takes a time, but that works.
Yeah,
and
that works.
It works.
And even then,
along with the media,
even then, I see that as the stalk, the trunk of the tree, right? Because historically, and I can give a bunch of examples, but historically, change comes from the bottom up. Change comes from the grassroots up. It's when you have women organizing and people like Davidson, Gloria Steinem, that you got the Equal Rights Act and women got more rights. Same thing with the Civil Rights Movement, etc. So I'm also looking at grassroots leadership, community leaders. What vision is there out there? And the example I'll use is this African American. At one time, all
Mhm.
Then it
Okay.
became, we're free, what can we build? And we had all Wall Streets and Wilmington, North Carolina. And then the
Mhm.
Repression came. And then it was like, we wanna get rid of Jim Crow and segregation. We need civil rights legislation. Then it was Black Power. We need to have blacks who are CEOs of corporations, who are governors, who are mayors, and that sort of thing.
Mhm.
And the reason why I say that is because when you look at communities, I don't care if it's Florence, Darlington, all of America, I don't see a shared common vision
Mhm.
among black people,
Okay.
among different groups of people. I don't even see a shared common vision for America anymore. That's partly why we're a divided country right now.
And that's no, I hadn't even thought about it in that manner.
Because the elected officials are supposed to be representing what the people want.
What the people want. And it's just making me look at the reason that I'm still elected. Okay. Um, I, like I said, I didn't have any desire to be an elected official. The reason that I did was to give support because at the time we had elected our first black mayor in Darlington, who also happened to be the first female as well.
Like Florence.
Yeah. And I ran for the seat that she was vacating because just to make sure that she had that kind of support. Okay, because it was going to be uh, kind of rough for her because the election itself was very divisive. It was already sides had already been joined in, and it wasn't going to be. I'm saying that to say that we just needed to. But being here, I'm seeing yes, being able to have a unified goal issues. It is a problem. I came in, and once I got that, I considered it wasn't even about. I didn't know what I just wanted to give her the kind of support. Okay, so winning. But my first term in there, my first term, I've really got to see what it is, how government things are won. Now, locally, it just goes bigger. And it's the same. It's the same to get to the folk because that's where the folk are. Is same voters. They are the local ones. So that's right here. You're the first step. You're the first step. So the monies and things that are coming, you're learning that. It took me a minute to actually learn because that's something the majority does not want you to know. And that's always blocked and it's still hidden. So you got the press. So I just kind of made it. Then I had to see what it is that I can do to improve my area that I represent. And so I have developed a mission, a goal, which I share with you in so many ways. But that is to just to improve that area. And you first got to start. We got a wealth of land and real estate, but there's no businesses and things in there. And we used to have all of that where you can keep your money
in the community.
In the community. When I came up, there was, mom and pops everywhere. I mean, they're right around the corner. We did our own, even in my household. I mean, well, and mom and dad. Well, my father raised, besides working at the local plant, he also raised hogs because he was from the farm. And every season, and we all went out to help with the tobacco and cotton and all like that. But we also, my mom had the chickens in the backyard. We had some kind of, I do remember the little cow where they were selling milk and the eggs and all that. And for years, there was still a gentleman that brought us some good eggs. That's all we bought from there. But that was, we always did. There's none of that in our community.
And let me ask you.
There's none of that.
Let me ask you.
Sure.
is it an issue of zoning because you know we
All of that plays in it.
yeah
I
we
don't know.
we actually wanted to set up some businesses in some communities where there's a great need, for communities. And we literally, when we asked about it, we're told, and this didn't happen once, this happened several times. They brought up zoning issues and said that, well, this is only zoned
For
residential. And it's like, well, you can change zoning.
Mhm.
That's something that governing bodies can do. You can change zoning because I noticed that more affluent communities, you see more businesses. Yeah,
Yes.
you'll see homes where people live, but
But
then you also see a house that is a real estate company. That's a lawyer's office.
and
Sometimes
definitely
there's dentist
tax.
offices there.
Tax for Kara.
But when you go in poor communities, you don't see that. And so, do you find zoning is an issue?
At one time, but like I'm saying, in my situation, because it used to be that way, and it had because it didn't think that it was a threat, they didn't change it. So I still have that, like where it's commercial residential is only in mine. And see, that is what I'm capitalizing on and using that kind of information just to get folks. Come on, man, let's do this. We have daycares over there. You don't have to be downtown with your barbershop or your this, that, and the other. And those who are doing taxes, go ahead and put your shingles out here. You don't have to go work in HR block. You can do it for us here.
Right.
You gotta, and for you to work at these places, you got to go through and get your credentials for that. Use it at home. Help your folk over here. Things like that. I'm just I'm trying. The farmers
and the young people, children, they don't see the role model. They don't see any role models. You're not creating jobs. It's a thing that like you don't create jobs in your own community. You wait for someone to come in and hire people from your community, but then the money doesn't stay in your community. It's extracted. It goes away, and the community remains impoverished. A few people benefit because their checks are a little bigger, but the community remains impoverished. Yeah. And so that's a challenge. I want to ask you about something else. Now, this is something I've observed. I could be completely wrong, right? and I want to be completely wrong, right? But it seems to me often too that people run for office in communities, and then when they get elected, they're elected because people want them to push the envelope. People want them to make change. But once they get in office, they become defenders of the status quo. And if they're challenged about why aren't you doing this, why aren't you doing that, they get very defensive. And I always found that funny because a lot of people run to change the system, but once they get into office, they become the system's greatest defender. Because,
Pastor, that's the question, but I'm here to tell you what I have observed.
We're not talking about you now.
Okay.
And some others.
I know. But I'm going to give you as a why I think that happens. Okay. It is for those that are not one, there is so much knowledge about how these cities are run. So much is flowing from all directions. It really is. And for you to actually grasp hold so that it can benefit the area that you represent, or if you at large, the entire thing. But when you have an impoverished area, it's not, you got to bring all that up. Now, when you see how is really good, how others do benefit and how they grows and stuff. A lot of folks get involved with that. And you got that because, gosh, I hate to say that they get so when you get off your mission and you can have the same thing if you can have it by still doing it, but maybe not at the level that you see others doing it. And I don't, but I just look at it as being because you didn't know, and once you get this knowledge, you just don't know how to use it. I take my time. I use the other council members who I know a little bit more than me, not a little bit more than they know a whole lot. And innocently, so because like you mentioned about the zoning, if you don't know those ordinances, if you don't read those wordings in there, you will hurt your own community.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? So I'm saying it's not just, but everything is about how that budget, because that's the biggest thing, the budget, the money's into these departments or whatever. But the money's to keep your city operating. The money's that do that. It has a lot of leeways because I'm learning about the bonds. I'm learning about what the hospitality tax, what that's about, and what's the money, the accommodations and things, all these terms that you hear thrown here and there, and how they're used, and to learn what the department, what the planning, what the development, and how that is. Because when that infrastructure, all of that big money came in, there was wide ways to use it. So it needed to be not just on your street, but some may say, man, I need my street done right here. So make sure this gets on the list. You're talking about, but once you start compromising like that, that's what happens. Once you hit that, it could be a simple thing like that. I need to get this done. And I know there's negotiation, but when it comes to dealing with the monies and these grants and how they flow, it needs to be straight across the board. And when you start deviating, that's what it is. And I see it. Okay. I see it.
And part of it is, I'm not saying, I think a lot of people who get elected to office truly have the hearts, truly want to make a difference. But a lot of folks, I want to say the majority of people who serve on councils, etc., they're bivocational. They have to make a living for themselves because those positions don't pay. And then you have a few people who, they have a very lucrative business and they have plenty of people working for them so that they can find out about things. Or you have city managers, that's their job. And so when someone comes, and I've seen this, I'm not just talking about here, because I've traveled around the country. I see this all the time. We have an opportunity to bring X number of dollars to the city. This will create this much money and this much job, any job. But we got to pull together a proposal, and we only got 6 weeks to do it. Who wants to vote for it? Who's going to not vote for jobs and business development?
There you go.
It's like, so people vote on, and then they find out later on, this did not benefit my community. So I think one thing that needs to be done, and this is on a national level, that we should bring together groups of people, college students, etc., who can do the research for folks. Someone who's majoring in French, Spanish, somewhere, political science, and his brother says, I'll give them extra credit. Now they're working with a council person. They can put that on their resume, which is going to give them a head start in terms of looking for jobs. And now you have someone who can do the research. Now you have someone who can find 2 things we had that didn't happen in the PD. Gov grants, where if the government partnered with a community-based organization, they could bring grants to their city. Or this was with Senator Tim Scott, empowerment zones.
Amen.
Where you could bring money into your community if your community uh, fit in with certain characteristics, income, etc. But and I'm not blaming the people in the council, but I know they have to hustle. They got to pay their mortgages. They got jobs and families to take care of. And on the city level, unlike with state legislators and congressional people who have staff to support them, you guys don't have that.
I want to point something out that'll go right to the things that you were saying about how people get off track. Take the empowerment zone that Tim got that would have benefited so many folks. Right in Darlington, the information was when it comes in, you have certain folk that a certain staff people that applied for it or send it up and blah blah blah. They didn't see the need because it was designated specifically for the low income areas. So they didn't see the need to even get it. So Darlington City did not get one because our staff person or the managers at those times didn't see that they would not have had control of the money. They would have not had where they could finagle it to go other way. So when do you not get money that was just there was nothing to it except that you qualified for? Right. And that was according to the level that they measured your poverty. We would have that would have been in didn't find out until after the time zone had passed. Did not even know that the information was even there. You see what I'm saying? That's how so that we're left out. And if you're not on it, and that's it, I said, well, that would be the last time for for that. That's why I reach out to you, folk. Oh, so the information I reach out. I find the staff people on the on the congressman's level, on the Senate level, local, my local house members, and not, I'm saying my state house and state senators, as well as that. Even though even though he is not our congressman anymore, but he is the congressman for all of minority things. That Jim Clyburn's office never turns you down, and they are constantly putting putting information out, and those are the things that I'm saying that we, as local elected officials can do, because when you see one side of your town being improved and looking one way, there should not be any reason yours shouldn't be, or the district you represent. And I'm trying to make a difference there. But that's the things that happens to a lot.
Yes, that's why we love you. That's why
guys, I didn't want to get on my bad staff.
The thing is, from a Christian perspective, help one another. That we're called to what Jesus said clearly. I was hungry, you didn't feed me. I was naked, you didn't clothe me. I was in prison, you didn't visit me. And especially if you're a Christian or a person of faith, you're called to do these things. This is your priority, not other areas where people already have money, already have resources, already have developers, already have contacts with bankers and stuff. Your calling, especially if you're a person of faith or a Christian, is to help those who don't have those level of support. And so I think that now I know that you don't get change without a new vision.
Okay, there you go.
Don't
That's
get
the
change
change.
without a new vision. And that a rising tide lifts all boats. So that's
listen.
That's
That's
one.
a good one.
Yeah, that's the thing that really perplexes me. That you can take a poor community in your city And if you allow them to have business development, community economic development in that
Yeah, they
community, they will make more money. They will pay more taxes. You're able to do more things for your city.
Yeah.
But keeping one boat stuck in the mud, another boat has a hole in the bottom. You know what I mean? So that you can build bigger boats for yourself.
I
It
said,
does not. It actually diminishes and hurts everybody.
so
Everybody.
that, I'm telling that empowerment thing, when I was able to, I was trying, and I still have contact with Senator Scott's office, and I said, if anything like that, now I've developed a relationship with someone in the office so that anything similar comes out, that they will at least advise me and ask me so that we can be set up to be able to lift it up. It was just just it was just so it was kind of hurtful to once to learn that here it was so available, and now and the things that are, I mean, the consultation you had to go, there was nothing.
Arlington, Florence, Marion, North Charleston. These zones were set up all over the state. All over the state. But you can go into most of the communities that were eligible, and they look exactly the same. No change whatsoever. You know. So that's challenging, and those are some of the things that people need to be looking at when they're voting for people. And this is the reason why they should turn out to vote. You know, you're looking at your community. You need to elect somebody who's going to take care of your opinion. And
I would. We do need to do that, but Pastor, I am said if we do not instill in the masses of our African American sisters the need to get out to vote during this time, we are in for some rough times. We're in for some rough times. All we would be able to do would get the fallout of those that are prospering. Because one of the things that I see about what Nikki Haley says about the Trump thing, that he ain't about you, he's just want to get back in power for revenge. So we can't. There's nothing about the political process. There's nothing about the talk of that. Just what you were saying. And on our what I consider on the opposing side, the Democratic side, if all of us do not get, get out there and just act like we are grassroots. We can do all of this up here, but if we don't pull our and since I know a lot of emphasis is being put on trying to get young folks, but we got to get the people out that who we have known to be our base, and that's us seniors. That's us seniors. I mean, so you're gonna have to put a whole lot of, a whole lot of effort in getting us out doing that. It's not that we don't know. It's just sometime now, just availability of being able to move. So the effort need to be put into getting our seniors out there. So because we have proven that we are the basis, we are the one that votes that we bring them out. Hopefully we can bring our families.
And we have to fund the change that we want to see.
Yes.
And we have to fund our own freedom. And when I say that, I'm talking about funding communities so they're free from poverty, so they're free from gun violence, so that they're free from, large scale drug sales and distribution. And that's because there's not a lot of alternatives. And when I say fund our own freedom, how many churches do we have? On average, every Monday, the black church puts $50 million in the bank. we have sororities, fraternities, we have Masonic orders,
Fraternal organizations.
fraternal, we have all of these things, but we're not funding our own freedom. And so that is also a thing that's when you talk about the past and what we did, we were funding our own thing. Because right now, for African Americans have on average, and now when they say average, we're talking about the billionaires like Jay-Z and Oprah Winfrey.
Mm-hmm.
The average black family has $10,000 in the bank compared to the average white family having $100,000 in the bank.
All right.
And what they are predicting is that by 2053, if the current trends continue, we'll have $0 in the bank compared to what white families and others have. And that's because we're not banking, we're not saving money, we're doing cash apps and all that kind of stuff. And that's not how you build up an economy. So I don't want us to point fingers at everybody else without pointing the fingers
Because at ourselves. And that's what I wanted you to, I want you to comment on, because I just see the the move to be successful and to have monies in the bank, to have the decent housing, have kids educated in certain schools and things like that, that it is also contributes to the breakdown of this family. What can we do? Where do we need to, what do we need to do to pull that back so the emphasis would simply be life, so that we can have our own Wall Street again inside. But that's all say looking at confidence, but I just want us to be a unit.
I just say depend on ourselves, support each other. That's how we got this far. And that's how we're going to move into the future. Invest with each other, save with each other, help feed each other. All of those things are the things that's going to move us forward and stop being dependent on other people. Elect people in office that's going to make sure that we have community empowerment, community growth, community development. And I know we're running out of time. We can do
Oh, I just enjoy you so. I'm just sitting back, and for all of you out there, you can't see, yeah, I'm sitting like I'm at the kitchen table, I got my legs crossed, and just reaching over, slapping him on the hand, and all kinds of stuff. It has been my pleasure. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Oh, thank you.
I enjoy this.
Yes. But we want people to know we always do this before we end. A lot of people have heard you talk, and a lot of them, probably want to hear more, know more, support you when you have to run for office again. So tell people how they can reach you.
Okay. Well, you can always, I have this number, been in the same thing at all times. My email is ElaineReed7@AOL.com, and I dare you to say anything about that. I do not check. I can be reached at 843-307-7086. I do not have to run this year. I think it's next year or maybe later in the year. But you will know. I'm not gonna hold that a secret. You will know, and I would welcome everyone's participation, regardless of where you are. But I also want you to make sure that you tune in on Sunday at 6 p.m. at 105.1, and that's WPDT for Purpose in the PD.
Purpose in the PD.
Where I'm your host. Thank you. Thank you again, Pastor.
Thank you so much. So our guest has been Elaine Reed, elected official, radio host, teacher, preacher, and queen. And if you want to reach me, you can reach me at info@newalphacdc.com, or you can go to our website, www.newalphacdc.com, or or you can call me at the church where I'm still blessed to pastor with all these wonderful people, and that's calling Kingdom Living Temple 843 410 3272.
All righty, you got it.
Until next week, this time, remember, if there's something you need to know or a place you need to go, it's the Leo and Larry show. Be blessed.